Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're diving deep into a battle that's been hidden in plain sight for centuries. Your human eyes versus the legendary eagle eyes. Not metaphorically, not in cartoons, but in pure, raw, visual power. You've seen the memes, the nature documentaries, the endless comparisons, but nothing prepares you for what happens when we put human vision and eagle vision side by side at full intensity. 10% versus 100%. The numbers themselves seem harmless, but the reality? Mind-blowing. The human eye is a marvel, no doubt. It processes light, color, movement, and depth in ways that technology is still struggling to replicate. But when you zoom in, when the focus sharpens beyond what you can imagine, everything changes. Humans can spot a movement in the periphery, can read the faintest emotion on a face, can detect contrast and pattern like a natural AI. But then comes the eagle, a creature born with an optic superpower, a machine of precision in the animal kingdom. Its eyes are not just instruments, they are engines of absolute focus. With a zoom ability that's effectively 100%, eagles can spot prey from over a mile away. 1 mile. And when you compare that to the human capability, the gap isn't just large, it's a chasm. We start our experiment at dawn, the light barely cutting through the morning haze. A human volunteer steps up, eyes wide, anticipation in every blink. A distant object, a tiny speck on the horizon, appears. The human focuses, squints, adjusts. Can they make it out? Not clearly. The shape blurs. The details are lost in the distance. Every flicker of feather, every subtle movement fades into grayish ambiguity. The 10% vision limitation feels almost cruel in this cinematic moment. The way your eyes strain and the mind stretches to compensate. Now shift the camera. Enter the eagle gliding above, wings slicing through the chill air with effortless grace. Its eyes lock onto the same distant speck. But here, clarity reigns. Every motion, every contour, every micro-flap of the wings becomes crystal. The eagle isn't squinting, it doesn't need to. Its retina, packed with cones far beyond human density, translates reality into precision. Zooming in at 100%, it perceives what the human brain can only dream of. The contrast, the sharpness, the pinpoint accuracy, it's almost violent in its perfection. As the experiment continues, our human subject tries to track the object with binoculars, optical tools meant to bridge the gap. But technology is no substitute for nature's design. Even high-end optics strain to replicate the eagle's visual architecture. It's not just about seeing, it's about processing, predicting, calculating movement in real time. A mental algorithm wired into the eagle's biology. Each blink, each refocus, every micro-adjustment in the human attempt feels slow, clunky, almost laughably inadequate when compared to the instantaneous clarity of eagle vision. And here's where it gets truly fascinating. Neuroscientists explain that human eyes and eagle eyes are tuned differently, optimized for survival in contrasting ways. Humans excel at close-range precision, color perception, and reading subtle facial cues, emotional intelligence through optics. Eagles, on the other hand, are survival machines of the open sky, tuned to spot motion, anticipate trajectory, and identify prey with brutal efficiency. It's a reminder that evolution doesn't aim for one perfect eye. It aims for the perfect eye for the environment. And when you witness this test, when you see 10% versus 100% in action, it hits you with the force of reality. The human eye, brilliant as it is just a fragment of what nature can design. The camera zooms in closer. Our subject raises their hand to shield the eyes from the rising sun, frustration and awe mixed into a single expression. They try to hold focus, they try to match instinct with willpower, but instinct here belongs to the eagle. Every feather, every glint of light on the speck, the exact position in the open air, it all comes into razor-sharp view for the eagle. For the human? A blur, a hopeful guess, a struggle against biology itself. The tension is cinematic, almost unbearable, as the audience feels the gap. The impossible stretch between human perception and avian mastery. We step even further, examining motion. The speck begins to move. A subtle shift in direction, a tiny adjustment in flight path. Humans blink. The brain struggles to calculate speed and angle simultaneously. Eagles adjust instantly. Every neuron fires. Every retinal receptor responds. The eagle is not just watching, it's predicting, mapping a trajectory, calculating a strike, all while the human eye flounders in an approximate blur. The contrast is jarring, visually and emotionally, a suspense that grips the viewer's attention and refuses to let go. By now, the comparison becomes more than scientific, it becomes philosophical. What does it mean to see, to perceive, to hold the world in focus versus the struggle to interpret a mere fraction of it? The human mind has always imagined itself at the center of awareness. Yet here, in this cinematic test, the limits are undeniable. The eagle is not just faster or sharper, it is a different kind of vision entirely, one that renders human assumptions about seeing almost quaint, and then comes the moment of revelation. A tiny movement in the distant speck, something our human subject never notices, becomes the pivot of the eagle's hunt. The eagle adjusts, tilts its head, and locks in. That single fraction of an instant, imperceptible to human perception, is everything. The gap between 10% and 100% isn't linear, it's exponential. Every frame, every flicker of light, every micro movement is processed, stored, and predicted by eagle vision. And as the sun rises fully, illuminating the open field, the audience finally understands the raw truth of what it means to see as an eagle sees. The eagle hovers now, a shadow against the golden light, wings cutting silently through the sky, while our human subject continues squinting at the distant speck, heart racing, mind straining. Every second stretches into an eternity. You feel it. 10% vision is not just a limitation, it's a slow-motion trap. The world refuses to reveal itself fully. Shapes smear, movements hesitate, and clarity slips like water through your fingers. Meanwhile, the eagle's gaze is ruthless, uncompromising, a lens of ultimate truth that leaves no detail hidden. Its eyes are engines of pure calculation, constantly adjusting, sharpening, and predicting, while human eyes fight a losing battle against distance, light, and the very fabric of reality. The air vibrates with tension. A sudden gust disturbs the eagle's flight, yet it barely falters. Every feather reacts independently, micro-adjusting for the wind, while the eagle's vision recalibrates instinctively. Contrast this with the human attempt, hands gripping binoculars, muscles tense, trying desperately to follow motion, to match instinct with cognition, only to find the world smeared and ambiguous. You realize the human eye is powerful, yes, but it is made for intimacy, for nuance, for the moments that matter close at hand. It's an artisan of perception, precise in a small radius. The eagle is a sniper of the sky, a predator whose eyesight can pierce miles with unerring certainty. We push further, testing precision at mid-range distances. Small targets, subtle movements. Humans rely on learned experience, intuition, and guessing. Every blink loses fractions of the target, every slight head movement introduces error. Meanwhile, the eagle predicts every motion before it occurs. It doesn't just see, it anticipates. The concept of reaction time becomes meaningless when instinct and biology operate in tandem. Your human brain can calculate speed and angle, yes, but the eagle does it faster than thought itself, faster than any conscious effort can match. The difference is almost cruel in its perfection, a stark reminder that nature often designs marvels we can barely comprehend. The experiment shifts. Now, multiple specks move across the horizon. The human eye struggles to track more than one, oscillating between shapes and shadows, while the eagle's eyes operate like dual cameras, capturing each motion with layered precision. Every movement, every subtle change in distance or trajectory is recorded, analyzed, and processed simultaneously. You can almost hear the rhythm of its brain, a silent, unrelenting pulse of accuracy. The human observer feels frustration, awe, and a twinge of humility, a visceral acknowledgement of the gulf between human perception and avian supremacy. And then comes the moment that will stay with the viewer long after the video ends. One speck darts unexpectedly, a sudden, almost imperceptible shift, and the eagle reacts instantly, wings tilting with mathematical perfection, eyes locking with uncanny precision. The human subject barely notices the motion, reacting a heartbeat too late, squinting, adjusting, trying to catch what was already gone. It's not just speed, it's an entire perceptual architecture that humans simply cannot replicate. In this moment, you understand the brutal truth. The 10% human eye is a world unto itself, but in the open sky, against the eagle's 100% clarity, it is almost blind. We slow the footage, revealing the eagle's retina in extreme close-up, a landscape of cones and foveal density that seems otherworldly. Scientists explain that eagles have up to 5 times more photoreceptor cells than humans. The fovea, the central point of sharpest vision, is so dense it allows the bird to see with unparalleled detail, almost like looking through a living telescope. Humans marvel at this, but it also triggers a deep, instinctive envy. Our eyes, which we consider our ultimate tool of awareness, are limited by evolution's compromises, balanced for versatility rather than specialization. The eagle is a testament to nature's ruthless efficiency, a creature built to dominate perception itself. We return to our human subject. Sweat glistens on the brow, eyes burning, hands gripping binoculars like a lifeline. Every tiny motion in the distance becomes a test of patience and skill. And yet, no matter how intense the focus, no matter how hard the brain tries to compensate, the reality remains. What the human sees is always fragmented, always incomplete. Shadows blur into shapes, shapes into ambiguity. Meanwhile, the eagle observes with unflinching accuracy, every contour, every color, every movement accounted for. It is a predator, yes, but also a reminder of what pure vision can be when biology is optimized to its extreme. The suspense builds further as we test contrast in extreme lighting. The sun arcs higher, throwing shadows across the landscape. The human eye struggles with glare, adjusting pupils, squinting, fighting the changing light. The eagle? Its vision adapts instantly. The nictitating membrane, an eyelid-like structure that sweeps across the eye, acts as a natural filter, protecting while enhancing. Suddenly, every detail lost to humans comes into razor-sharp focus for the eagle. It's not just vision. It's vision augmented, perfected, a demonstration of what evolution can achieve when survival depends on perfection. Then, we introduce motion in close quarters, tiny, almost imperceptible twitches in leaves, a flutter of wings, a sudden shift in distance. The human brain strains to predict, to anticipate, to see what is barely there. The eagle does not strain. Its eyes, its brain, its instincts act as one, capturing, calculating, reacting in a perfect loop. The gap between 10% and 100% doesn't feel linear anymore. It's a chasm of experience, a difference in reality itself. And the cinematic tension here is undeniable. Viewers can feel it in every frame, every zoom, every slow-motion capture. The human eye is a marvel, but the eagle eye is a revelation. By now, the audience is not just watching a test. They are experiencing a lesson in perception, in biology, in the limits of human awareness. The eagle's dominance is undeniable, but so is our fascination, our wonder, our desire to push our own eyes beyond their natural limits. And that's the tension that drives this video forward. Human curiosity, ambition, and emotion versus the raw, unyielding efficiency of nature's design. The eagle banks sharply, wings slicing through the air like living blades, while the human subject follows with strained muscles and pounding heart, eyes darting, mind racing. Every movement the eagle makes seems preordained, a perfect equation of physics, biology, and instinct. The human observer can only guess, only flail, trying to anticipate what the sky already knows. And in that moment, the contrast is almost unbearable. You feel it deep in your chest, the helpless awe of watching a creature operate on a level your body and brain can barely comprehend. 10% versus 100%. Not a comparison, It's a confrontation with reality itself. Now, we push the experiment further, introducing subtle camouflage. Tiny specks blend with the terrain, shadows merge with movement, and patterns in nature try to hide the truth. Humans blink, scan, shift focus, but the world confuses them. Shapes dissolve into one another. The eagle, however, sees everything. Every micro-pattern, every glint of light bouncing off feathers or scales, becomes a beacon of clarity. Its vision decodes the world like a high-definition map, turning what looks like chaos to the human eye into a perfectly organized canvas. The 10% human perspective is scrambling, incomplete, vulnerable. The eagle is flawless. The suspense escalates as we test reaction speed. A small, rapid motion occurs far away, almost imperceptible. The human eye notices only after a delayed fraction of a second, brain scrambling to process, hands gripping binoculars like lifelines. But the eagle is already responding, body tilting, wings adjusting mid-flight, eyes locked onto the movement before consciousness even registers it. It's a fusion of perception and action so precise, it feels unnatural, almost cinematic in its perfection. Viewers watching the slow-motion replay see the moment frozen. Human delay versus eagle instantaneous. 10% versus 100%. Struggle versus supremacy. Then comes the psychological twist. Watching this, you feel your own limits. Your eyes strain, your mind measures, your instincts kick in, but they're inadequate. Nature has built this apex of perception for survival, not empathy, not entertainment. And yet as awe and tension build, there's a strange beauty in the contrast. Humans marvel, not just at the eagle, but at their own capacity to wonder, to analyze, to reach beyond their natural design. It's the paradox. Our limitations heighten the drama, making the eagle's power feel cinematic, almost mythical, and yet undeniably real. We introduce speed now. Tiny movements shift faster than the human eye can follow, and a flock of birds takes flight in the distance. Humans squint, estimate, try to predict, but detail evaporates in the blur. The eagle locks onto a single bird with the intensity of a sniper, eye-tracking micro-movements in real time. It anticipates trajectory, speed, wind, even muscle tension in the tiny wings. The human eye could never process such complexity. It's a visceral lesson in perception. 10% is human reality. 100% is eagle truth. And the suspense is tangible, gripping, cinematic, the kind of tension that makes you hold your breath. As the experiment progresses, we test night adaptation. Human eyes struggle against the falling shadows, pupils dilating, focus wavering. The eagle, however, possesses a sensitivity that captures even minimal light, allowing movement to be detected where humans see only darkness. Every feather, every micro-shift in the environment becomes visible, every motion predicted. You feel the difference physically, emotionally. The human observer squints, stumbles, falters, while the eagle glides, untouchable, omniscient in its perception. The gap between vision and understanding has never felt so profound. We slow the scene to show both subjects simultaneously, human effort against natural mastery. Hands tighten on binoculars, eyes strain, mind calculates. The struggle is palpable. Meanwhile, the eagle moves with grace, precision, certainty. Every tiny adjustment in air pressure, light, and angle is accounted for. It is not just seeing, it is understanding the environment in ways humans cannot replicate. You feel the tension, the suspense, the awe. The cinematic storytelling is almost unbearable, each frame a study in contrast, the limits of human biology versus the perfection of nature. And then comes the revelation that will shock viewers. A distant movement, a tiny ripple, barely a shift in the foliage, signals the presence of prey. The human subject misses it entirely, guessing, hoping, straining. The eagle sees it immediately. Its focus narrows, the world around it blurs into the background, and for a brief moment, the camera captures the apex of predatory vision in extreme close-up. Each cone in the retina works in perfect harmony, each neuron firing, predicting, calculating. It is a demonstration of evolution's relentless perfection. 10% versus 100% is no longer just vision. It is survival, mastery, and art all in one. We examine tracking capabilities now. Multiple objects move, some hiding, some revealing. Humans struggle to follow, switching focus, losing detail, grasping at fragments. The eagle, however, separates each object effortlessly, processing trajectories, distances, relative speeds with flawless accuracy. It's a dance of perception and instinct, and the human observer, though intelligent, sophisticated, and capable, cannot hope to match the efficiency of evolution's ultimate tool. The suspense builds further as viewers realize they are watching not just a vision test, but a lesson in the limits of their own perception. Finally, we introduce a final cinematic challenge: extreme distance, minimal light, rapid movement. Humans squint, adjust, blink, try to capture what barely exists. The eagle's eyes dominate, slicing through distance, darkness, and motion simultaneously. Every micro detail is tracked, every subtlety anticipated, every second accounted for. 10% vision is human struggle. 100% is eagle mastery. And the suspense, the awe, the cinematic tension leaves viewers leaning forward, hearts racing, minds reeling at the brutal yet mesmerizing truth of nature. The eagle hovers now over the sprawling landscape, wings outstretched, cutting through the air with a quiet authority that feels almost supernatural. Every muscle, every feather, every minute adjustment in its flight is orchestrated by vision so precise it seems impossible. Meanwhile, our human subject squints, tilts, strains, trying to interpret the same scene with 10% clarity, feeling every millimeter of the gap in perception. It's not just a comparison anymore, it's a confrontation with reality. A stark reminder that our eyes, brilliant as they are bound by limits that nature's apex predators simply don't have. We shift focus to pattern recognition, a subtle yet astonishing difference. Humans rely on experience, intuition, and learned perception to identify shapes and movements at a distance. A glimmer of motion in the foliage might signal prey, or it might be a trick of light. The human eye hesitates, calculates, guesses. The eagle's vision, however, is instinctual and immediate. Every subtle shift, every tiny distortion in light, every microscopic contrast is amplified and decoded with razor-sharp accuracy. It sees not just an object but the intent, the movement, the trajectory. A living map of the environment unfolding in real time. The cinematic tension escalates as we introduce camouflage challenges. Small objects blend perfectly into the environment. Leaves rustle, sunlight flickers, shadows merge. The human brain strains to make sense of the chaos, eyes flicking, trying desperately to pick out patterns only to find them fleeting and ambiguous. The eagle, in contrast, locks onto targets with a laser-like focus. Camouflage fails entirely against its retinal superpower. Each hidden detail becomes a clear signal. 10% vision is guessing. 100% vision is omniscient perception. The viewer feels the difference as if their own eyes are straining in the scene. We test depth perception next. Objects shift subtly across multiple planes, some closer, some farther, some partially obscured. Humans blink, refocus, and still struggle, misjudging distance, speed, and trajectory. The eagle calculates instantaneously. Every distance, every angle, every micro-shift in three-dimensional space is accounted for. It reacts with a precision that feels preternatural, a level of visual intelligence that humans can admire but never replicate. The suspense builds as viewers realize that what they perceive as ordinary sight is a mere fragment of what the natural world is capable of offering. The experiment escalates further. High-speed movement is introduced. A flock of small birds suddenly bursts from the trees. Humans scramble to follow, binoculars shaking in hands, eyes darting, mind racing. Patterns blur, individuals merge into indistinct masses and critical details slip away. The eagle, however, singles out a single target with unwavering focus. Its wings tilt, body angles shift mid-flight, eyes locked with an intensity that borders on supernatural. 10% vision is a struggle. 100% vision is instinct perfected. Every frame screams contrast, suspense, and awe. We bring in light adaptation. The sun dips lower, casting long shadows and bright flares. Human pupils dilate, eyes squint, and perception falters under glare and contrast. The eagle's vision adapts instantly, effortlessly. Its nictitating membrane sweeps across the eye, reducing glare while enhancing focus, allowing perception to remain flawless even as the environment challenges it. Tiny ripples of movement, subtle shifts in light and shadow, all become readable, interpretable, actionable. The human eye struggles, a prisoner of biology, while the eagle dominates the visual field. Now the narrative intensifies. The human subject tries to anticipate movement, calculate angles, guess positions, but the eagle is already 3 steps ahead. Micro adjustments, instinctual calculations, predictive processing, all happen in a fraction of the time it takes the human brain to consciously register. Every blink, every small delay, every moment of hesitation in human perception is a failure compared to the relentless precision of eagle vision. The cinematic suspense is nearly tangible. Viewers feel the human struggle viscerally, understanding the chasm that separates our vision from this apex predator. And here comes the climactic moment. A subtle, almost invisible flutter occurs in the distant foliage, a tiny, rapid movement that humans completely miss. The eagle reacts instantly, tilts, dives, and locks focus, eyes blazing with calculated perfection. The slow-motion replay captures the brilliance of its visual processing. Every cone, every neuron, every millisecond of reaction is a symphony of evolution's design. The human observer blinks, frustrated, overwhelmed, but captivated by the display. 10% vision is human effort. 100% vision is a force of nature. As the camera pans across the landscape, you see both worlds simultaneously. The straining human eyes and the unflinching, precise eagle gaze. Humans marvel at their own effort, at the brain's struggle to compensate, to predict, to understand. But they cannot escape the truth. They are witnessing a superior design, a masterclass in perception that makes human vision seem limited, almost fragile. The tension is cinematic, emotionally charged, and undeniable, leaving viewers breathless, invested, and profoundly aware of their own limitations. Finally, we test endurance. Hours pass. The human subject grows tired, eyes burning, focus wavering. The eagle remains relentless. Vision sharp. Awareness total. Every movement, every micro detail, every second is captured, analyzed, processed, without pause. The contrast becomes not just a visual experiment but a lesson in persistence, design, and mastery. 10% versus 100% is no longer a simple metric. It is a testament to the extremes of evolution, a story of power, precision, and perfection. The eagle glides silently now, high above the terrain, a master of the open sky, wings slicing the air with effortless grace. Below, the human subject adjusts posture, squints, blinks, and squelches frustration into determination, eyes straining to catch details that vanish almost as soon as they appear. 10% versus 100%. It's not just numbers. It's an existential lesson in perception. The eagle doesn't flinch. It doesn't struggle. Its eyes and brain operate as one seamless instrument, processing light, motion, and depth with perfection that humans can only imagine. Now the focus shifts to tracking multiple objects simultaneously. Humans can barely follow 2 moving targets without losing track. Their vision oscillates, attention splinters, and motion blurs merge into indecipherable chaos. The eagle, however, slices through this complexity with effortless precision. It isolates each object, predicts trajectories, and calculates movement in 3 dimensions instantly. The contrast is staggering. Every micro-adjustment, every precise head tilt, every shift in wing alignment is dictated by vision that functions as a living supercomputer. The human eye struggles, the eagle dominates. Suspense heightens as we test micro-detail recognition. Tiny shifts in the environment, A leaf flutter, a subtle glint of light, signal opportunities or danger. Humans strain, squint, guess, blink. Eagle vision decodes these details with the accuracy of a sniper, interpreting the invisible movements of the world. It is not just seeing, it is understanding, anticipating, and reacting. 10% vision is human effort. 100% is instinctual mastery. The tension is cinematic, almost unbearable, as viewers feel the limitations of their own perception, mirrored in the struggle of the human subject. Next, we introduce speed tests. A rapid series of movements unfolds. A bird flickers between trees. A shadow shifts. A distant prey darts across the horizon. Human perception stutters. Eyes follow, blink, refocus, falter. The eagle reacts before thought itself. It calculates, predicts, and adjusts mid-flight with mechanical precision, eyes locking onto each micro-movement, as if time is slowed for its vision alone. The 10% human view struggles to keep pace, while the eagle's clarity feels unstoppable, inevitable, terrifyingly precise. The suspense grips the audience. The human viewer feels strain and awe simultaneously. We explore contrast sensitivity now. The light shifts, casting long shadows, highlighting texture, blending shapes with subtlety. The human eye wrestles with these gradients, guessing, adjusting, losing detail in seconds. The eagle's vision, however, thrives. Its cones and foveal density interpret minimal contrast with uncanny clarity, revealing patterns invisible to the human eye. The differences are no longer academic. They are physical, emotional, palpable. Every frame emphasizes the stark divergence. Human perception is flawed, incomplete, struggling, while eagle vision is flawless, relentless, omniscient. Then comes the psychological punch. Observing this, you feel your own limits pressing back against you. The human eye struggles to capture complexity, motion, and depth simultaneously. The eagle doesn't notice difficulty. It simply sees, understands, and acts. 10% versus 100% vision becomes a narrative of dominance, precision, and raw truth. The cinematic storytelling deepens. Viewers feel frustration, admiration, tension, and wonder all at once. You realize that watching this isn't passive, it is an engagement with nature's absolute design, a confrontation with the boundaries of human capability. We test extreme distance next. Objects are barely perceptible, blurred by the vast airspace, a world that challenges human comprehension. Humans strain, squint, and attempt predictive focus, but clarity is elusive. The eagle, though, identifies every subtle cue, every micro-shift in light, every hidden movement. Its vision cuts through distance like a laser, revealing a universe within the vast expanse. 10% human effort cannot compare. 100% eagle precision is reality itself, a visual truth that feels almost alien in its perfection. The climax approaches as rapid movement, camouflage, and shifting light converge. The human subject strains, blinking, adjusting, heart racing, mind screaming to interpret patterns too complex to decode in real time. The eagle, unshakable, locks onto a distant prey, eyes calculating, wings adjusting, every movement perfected by vision honed through millennia. The contrast is brutal and cinematic. Every second that passes, every blink missed, every hesitation felt by humans highlights the impossible dominance of eagle perception. 10% versus 100% is not just vision, it is evolution in action, survival, and artistry fused into one. Finally, the moment of revelation. The eagle dives, piercing the space with lethal precision. Humans follow too late, unable to match speed or clarity. The cinematic slow motion captures the apex of instinct, perception, and precision. A breathtaking demonstration of what 10% human effort can never reach. The suspense peaks, the awe is visceral, and the audience is left stunned by the brutal truth. The gap is absolute. The eagle doesn't just see, it dominates reality itself. The eagle plunges through the air, a living arrow of precision, wings tucked slightly, eyes blazing with clarity that humans cannot fathom. Below, the human subject raises binoculars one last time, heart pounding, eyes burning, mind straining to grasp the impossible. 10% versus 100%. The difference is not incremental, it is absolute, undeniable, a gulf between effort and perfection. Every motion, every calculation, every second of perception is dominated by nature's ultimate design. You feel it in your chest, a mix of awe, tension, and humility. As the eagle closes in, the prey, a tiny speck on the horizon, becomes clear to its vision but remains almost invisible to the human eye. Humans blink, anticipate, guess, and fail to capture the detail. The eagle's eyes, however, are a masterclass in evolution. Cones packed at extraordinary density, foveae tuned to detect even micro fluctuations in movement, and predictive instincts that translate sight into action instantly. It's a level of mastery humans can admire, envy, and study, but never replicate. The cinematic tension tightens, every heartbeat a drum, every flicker of motion holding the viewer suspended. We slow the scene. The eagle hovers for a fraction of a second, surveying, recalculating, aligning. The human subject gasps, unable to perceive the micro-adjustments taking place, every subtle shift in the air being accounted for in milliseconds. The beauty of this moment is brutal in its honesty. Humans, brilliant as they are, rely on learned experience, on conscious calculation, on tools to enhance perception. The eagle relies on instinct perfected through millennia, a combination of biology, physics, and raw evolution that turns vision into a weapon, a tool of survival, and a masterpiece of design. 10% versus 100% becomes a cinematic statement. Human effort meets nature's perfection. The eagle dives, piercing the distance with astonishing velocity. The prey reacts, fluttering, darting, but it is too late. Every micromotion, every slight hesitation, every ripple of air has already been calculated. The eagle's eyes track, anticipate, and direct movement in a continuous loop of unparalleled clarity. Meanwhile, the human observer can only watch, heart racing, mind overwhelmed, unable to keep pace. 10% vision falters, 100% dominates. The slow-motion replay reveals the full depth of the disparity. Every frame screaming the truth that humans are limited in ways we rarely confront so vividly. And then comes the broader reflection, the philosophical punch. Watching the eagle is not merely observing a predator. It is witnessing the extreme potential of perception itself. Humans are incredible, adaptive, imaginative, yet bound by biology that prioritizes versatility over absolute precision. Eagles are specialists, perfection incarnate, vision designed for survival and dominance. 10% human clarity versus 100% eagle acuity is not just a metric. It is a story of evolution, a tale of limits, a lesson in the power of nature's design. The suspense, the awe, the cinematic tension resonates emotionally with viewers, drawing them into a profound engagement with the world around them. We return to the human observer. Eyes wide, heart hammering, they adjust posture, take a deep breath, and realize the truth. Our vision is limited, yet our curiosity is boundless. We create tools, invent optics, study, learn, and stretch ourselves toward the impossible. The eagle reminds us of what nature can do, but also inspires us to push, innovate, and enhance our own capabilities. The contrast between 10% and 100% is stark, yet it drives wonder, conversation, and inspiration. The sun rises higher, illuminating the landscape. The eagle glides back into the sky, triumphant, untouchable, a symbol of raw perfection. Humans stand below, humbled, amazed, inspired. 10% versus 100%. The test is over, but the lesson lingers. We witness not just a comparison of eyes, but a narrative of perception, biology, survival, and mastery. Cinematic tension resolves into understanding, suspense into awe, and the viewer is left contemplating the limits of human ability and the extraordinary possibilities of nature. So the next time you look up at the sky, remember this. Our eyes, brilliant as they are only one way to see the world. Eagles see it differently, sharply, perfectly, as if every detail is a note in a symphony of survival. And while we may never match their vision, we can marvel at it, learn from it, and let it inspire our own quest to see more, understand more, and reach further than we ever thought possible. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into vision, suspense, and raw nature, make sure to hit the like button, comment your thoughts on how you'd fare in a 10% versus 100% test, and subscribe for more cinematic, mind-blowing explorations into the secrets of the natural world. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.